Today is November 28th. It's Wednesday, and it's almost Christmas time.
You're not allowed to say that before December?
Yes.
I already put my wreath up on my door. I haven't decorated my apartment, but I put the wreath up.
I was at a furniture store yesterday. Not only was the Christmas music cranked, the employees were all singing it.
They must have had an extra traumatic Thanksgiving holiday. I mean, Thanksgiving with the family, I understand that can be traumatic, but no, that's not the answer.
You should, so you're buying furniture. You should wait till the first of the year because that's when everything goes on sale.
What am I going to do in the meantime?
Just sit on the floor like the savage you are.
I need a bed.
You don't have a bed now?
Well, I have like a really old... I'm getting rid of I don't have a bed currently. I just have mattresses on the floor like a savage. Listen, I don't think you understand, Krista. I've lived in squalor for years preparing for this moment.
Yeah, you could save some money, though, if you... Buying all your furniture all at once if you wait till for the beginning of the year sale.
I don't know. Some of those Cyber Monday deals are pretty good because the furniture places are feeling the heat from the electronics places, and there's some good deals to be had.
They always get rid of all of their last year's stock, though.
You know what?
Before all the new styles come out.
You know what the big meme now is mattress in a box. Have you heard of mattress in a box?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's...
No.
Like, how can that be?
Not good.
You can't fit a mattress in a box.
No, not good. I'm slightly curious about purple, but no. Because purple is like slightly different, and maybe it's not terrible.
Isn't that the one
That's the one that was a little controversial.
But that was like covered in like cancer or something, wasn't it?
Well, it's the little beads they used to make it stop sticking to itself, which I understand they have changed.
Well,
anyway,
I wasn't a big fan of the Christmas music, and if I could have, I would have cut the cord to it.
ESPN just lost 2 million subscribers, according to Cud this year. Cutting the cord this year.
You got it there. Good job.
ESPN, so cord cutters. I love talking about cord cutters. You should.
This is, of course,
everybody should.
This is Disney, and Disney's feeling it. They're feeling the cord cutting, but they're striking back. They created ESPN Plus, which is a lot like Disney Plus, and they got 1 million of those people to sign up for that.
Yeah, the Roku and Sling have this deal with ESPN if you do that, and that's not actually a terrible way to get ESPN. I don't know, but somebody I know that's interested in college football, it was like, what are my options? And it turns out that's actually a really cost-effective option for doing that.
Also, you get NFL now on Amazon Prime, which had to hurt some people's feelings. I don't know if you get every game, but I see it on there sometimes.
The nice thing about the ESPN Plus thing is you just get a menu of all the games. It's not like multiple channels. You just because
pick which one you want to watch.
Yeah, a lot of times the games are going on simultaneously, so it just seems to work.
Yeah, and if you're a real degenerate gambler, that's what you need. You want to be betting on women's lacrosse, you know. And speaking of cuts, someone who's feeling the cuts probably much deeper than ESPN is poor old Foxconn.
Oh, Bloomberg, Apple iPhone supplier Foxconn is planning some deep cost cuts. So apparently the new iPhone XS and XR are not selling anywhere near as well as Apple had hoped. I think they've dropped the prices. And so Foxconn is a major supplier for Apple and everybody else. And so, of course, Foxconn is going to down revise their estimates as well.
One of the things that was interesting is Apple talked about, hey, we're just going to modify our approach a little bit. We're going to focus more on, Apple Music and Apple TV and all the add-ons. And we might raise the prices per handset, maybe try to sell some more peripherals. But none of that helps Foxconn.
No.
Foxconn is all about volume. How many iPhones can we make this year? And that number's going down.
It's not enough. Apple is even adjusting the price in Japan to try to raise the demand. So maybe there's going to be a silver lining for Foxconn. But they've cut the price to $750. And the XR compared to the iPhone X or the iPhone... Is it iPhone X or iPhone 10? I don't even know.
iPhone X, I think.
XS.
Well, X and XS are different.
Is the XR above or below the XS? But above the standard X.
It's the XR is a cost down version of the X, but it's basically the same. So why would you ever buy the X if you can get the XR for $250 less?
Is Japan, are they into Apple? Aren't they like non-Apple people mostly?
I don't think they care, as you shouldn't.
Yeah, but they're big online gamers, right?
Yeah.
So if one or the other has the hot game, I bet that makes a difference.
If you have a piece of technology that genuinely works and works well with your software ecosystem, then the sales will be pretty good. But I don't know. This is an interesting one to follow. We kind of predicted that because it was like the iPhone, the new Apple iPhones were not significantly better than the iPhone X. So
but they were more expensive.
Yeah, well, one was more expensive, one's less expensive.
But it's ridiculous the price point they've driven those up to.
Yeah,
They did the same with the iPad Pro, which it seems like a strange strategy.
Okay, so what are we, 3 weeks into iPad Pro?
Yeah.
How are we feeling about it now?
I still really like mine. If I had an older model, I probably wouldn't have upgraded, but I do like the iPad Pro for drawing.
We got to do the iPad Pro review on Level 1.
I've got an outline for it. I just haven't filmed it.
Gotta be so many downvotes.
So a lot of people are saying that Apple, like the reason they're failing is because they've lost sight, right? They're not who they were. They're not a bunch of hipsters with their head up their own asses. They're just pure corporatism now. And maybe somebody in Apple is feeling that because they're trying to get back to their roots.
We're hip. We're relevant. We're suddenly a player in an unlikely Hollywood realm. They bought a film studio.
They bought a film studio to make all their original content. They've got some really great ideas for, but
not just any film studio. Let's review the titles that this film studio has released before. Lady Bird, Moonlight, Room, Hereditary, 8th Grade, A Ghost Story, and Ex Machina.
Ex Machina is actually a good movie. Lady Bird and Moonlight, I think, were both like award show darlings. Like those were both very popular for award seasons.
They don't make any money. So the highest grossing one of these was $49 million. So pure, smelling their own farts Hollywood bullshit.
Are you saying that Ex Machina is too cerebral for a general audience?
I've never seen it. I've heard good things about it.
It's a good movie.
But that's the only one of those movies I've ever heard of.
I wouldn't say it's like super cerebral, but it was good.
It's okay. It's sort of the faux cerebral where it tries to be cerebral, but it's actually not.
But it is definitely
it was a good movie.
Right in the wheelhouse, I think, of old Apple. Like when it was the cult of personality.
Yes.
So maybe they'll find their, rediscover themselves.
No.
So you think, all those movies, like, they'll have the Apple products now instead of...
I think that they're just they're looking at how much money Netflix is making, and they're looking at their giant war chest of cash and saying, how can we turn this giant war chest of cash into even more cash?
Well, into relevance. How can we convert cash to relevance? Because we're losing that, and it turns out that's all we ever had.
Well, how do you be a cultural leader? Like Apple has become...
That's probably what it said on their slideshow,
yes.
So it sounds more, inspirational. And not, I'm trying to be relevant.
There was probably a little booklet that they handed out, and that was the title.
Well, that's what Steve Jobs wanted. I mean, that's what he wanted to set a trend, and he did for a lot of things. And so movies factor into our culture a lot.
It is a good way to get people on your team of mindless purchasing robots. But you know who doesn't want to be a mindless robot? The workers at Amazon in Spain.
Oh, the TechCrunch article. Amazon warehouse workers in Europe stage "We Are Not Robots" protest. From what I've heard, this echoed to all of the other Amazon warehouse workers, even over here in the States.
Echoed.
Yeah. See what I did there?
Well, according to... So here's a tweet where they did a little video, talk about what they wanted. And it's basic stuff, like, hey, maybe let us pee.
Maybe.
Here's some shots of the protest. Now, this organization claims that they had a certain turnout. Amazon says not. Amazon says it wasn't nearly that big. It was just some, ne'er-do-wells, and it didn't slow anything down. So who do you believe?
Yeah. On the one hand, if you are staffing a warehouse, and the only thing that is required of you is you find the product and you put it in the box, and you want some sort of satisfaction doing your job, do you ever really find that satisfaction in that type of job? I mean, some people
I think they just want to be able to go pee and have a lunch break. Like they're not asking for fulfillment. They're just asking for basic human decency.
I would think going to pee is okay.
Well, no.
What about eating?
Because the way it works, remember all those stories, it's not...
Your little buzzer starts going off.
Yeah, they're like, you can pee whenever you want, as long as you're getting 100 picks per half hour or whatever it is. Yeah. So these people are saying that's just not realistic. And remember the The Amazon driver who pooped on that guy's lawn.
There's no time to poop. I have to poop here. I'm sorry.
So
I have to go.
there's definitely some empirical evidence that kind of supports these guys.
He took a baggie, like a dog poop baggie, and just like scooped it up. Sorry. Like,
That's probably what he normally does, but he,
No, it was a girl.
Oh.
And it was a little tiny girl. And they had a picture of the poop, and it was massive. Like,
she'd been holding that
yeah,
all day.
she'd been like, this wasn't a decision that she made lightly. That had to go somewhere. And speaking of Amazon, of course, we all know that they've gamed the system once again. Bezos and his
minions.
his evil brilliance has decided to take 2 cities as his own rather than one and double dip on all the subsidies. One of those is New York, and some of the Amazon employees had a really good idea.
Some Amazon employees have bought New York City condos before the news of their HQ2 location emerged. So that makes sense because real estate prices are going to go up, but I don't know that anything wrong has happened here.
It is not illegal. And if you think about it, like if they had bought stock, for example,
That would not be allowed.
that's insider trading.
Yep.
It's not with real estate, and you think, well, it's kind of the same thing, but what other company has the ability to do that?
yeah.
It's so rare.
But that means that rents in those districts in New York are going up again.
Oh, they're going to go straight up. I think in that article they talked about they talked to some realtors in the area, and one guy was like, I've moved 51 condos in the last 2 weeks.
Jeez.
That's a good Christmas.
I think the article said it was 10 times the normal rate or something like that. So that's really just nuts.
Crazy. Well, you know what's 10 times the normal rate in the other direction?
Bitcoin. The headline here for the BBC is Bitcoin falls below 5,000.
It's a little bit old.
Oh, we just checked. It's 4,800. Is that what it was?
3,800.
3,800. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So
You guys feeling good about that right
below
now?
4,000. No, not feeling too good about
Not
that.
feeling good at all.
Maybe you'll get a Christmas miracle.
Hodl. Is that what we're doing?
At this point, what else can you do? You know, I mean, Bitcoin was always like, lottery ticket money, but it hurts when you could have
Yeah.
won the lottery and you chose not to because you were greedy.
Or it could be coming back. It could be coming back.
Could be coming back. So now, I mean, if you want to catch the knife, as they say in the investing world, and you can imagine why they say that, because you can get hurt doing that, you might want to buy Bitcoin right now. And if you're in France, good news.
French tobacco shops will start selling Bitcoin and Ethereum starting January of 2019. They're a little late to the party, I think.
That is a little late.
Very late.
Bad timing.
Poorly timed. So the way that's going to work is they've partnered with some online wallet. So you go in and you actually buy a code, not the cryptographic Bitcoin code, but a code that works with this software that then assigns you the amount that you purchased. So
Neat.
I imagine they charge a fee too.
In other news, the state of Ohio has started accepting Bitcoin for tax payments. So that's neat.
So, but what happens if you prepay now
And the value goes down.
or up?
If it goes up, that's great. If it goes down, that's bad.
For Ohio, not for me.
Well,
I burned them hard.
that sounds amazing.
Well, you want to talk about something that's amazing, genuinely amazing, is this scanner.
Human images from the world's first total body scanner. And when I read the headline, I thought this is going into airports, but no, it's actually medical imaging. And
Give
it's,
it some
and it's
time.
darn good.
Oh, yeah, give us some
Just
time.
wait. So this is a combo PET/CT scanner.
And it's fast.
And
That's the
here's
thing that makes it different.
Apparently, a ballerina is being scanned.
Well, they want to see all your internal organs there.
Yeah, this is real time. They don't have. Here's a video. So they can introduce radioactive dye. They don't show that here, but they can watch in real time
Contrast material.
as the
Yeah.
dye goes through your body.
Yeah, like they inject it into your thigh or something, and then it goes in real time. That's honestly, this kind of medical imaging technology has got to be the future because we need more data to understand what's happening over time. A lot of the time, doctors are making decisions on really scant information.
If you were looking for like a bleed or something, I bet that would be really valuable.
Yeah, it's
To
like
be able to see like exactly where your dye is all flowing out to.
Now, here's the question. I imagine a scan, they're probably going to do like a minute or 2 minutes, right?
well, right
for
now
an
it's like
average?
15 or 20.
Okay, let's say it's 10 minutes, right? how much are they going to bill the insurance? For
Tens of thousands of dollars.
tens?
Yeah.
I think you might add a zero. Because these machines have to be super expensive, right?
Yeah, there was a local MRI place that was subsidizing the cost of their MRI by having non-medical MRI. Like if you're a hypochondriac, you could pay like $100 and go get your imaging done, just to keep. I mean, the machine was on and it had idle time, so they were like, "Why don't we make some money from that?"
But you didn't have anyone to read your images after,
Right?
I assume.
Yeah. And no doctor in their right mind would look. It's like, "Hey, I got these unofficially," and it's like, "Well, there's something here. Let's order some official ones."
Yeah, and then there you are. You've wasted $100.
But those were also like $300, right?
Or yeah,
And you could never get that for $300.
right. No, insurance charges at least like $1,500.
Which shows you that what's wrong with the system. Well, not only are you going to be able to find what's wrong inside your body, but you're also going to be able to find your phone.
Google's Find My Device can now map exactly where you left your phone inside some buildings. So it knows from things like Bluetooth kiosks and Wi-Fi and crap like that. So if you leave your phone in a mall, your Find My Device can tell you exactly where inside the mall it is.
I actually had to use this like a few months ago because I went to the grocery store, left my purse sitting in the cart, drove my groceries home, and then was like, "Where's my purse?" And looked it up, and it was sitting in the parking lot.
How bad was that feeling?
Oh
in your
my gosh!
gut
Like my whole stomach just dropped
when
out.
you
I was like,
realized,
"No!"
because that's your entire identity in there.
Yeah,
right?
I like dug through my entire car. I was like, "Surely I just left it in the car," but no, it was sitting in the cart corral thing.
That's amazing that no
one took it.
The other really cool thing about this is it can actually do like vertical location inside of a tall building.
GPS doesn't do that.
Yeah. So the bad thing about it is if it can track your phone when you don't have it, it could also track it when you do have it.
Yeah. Came in handy that one time, but it's like, oh, that's kind of scary to think about.
That's not ripe for abuse at all.
Well, everybody loves YouTube, right?
No.
And we all know that when you watch the Level 1 news, you watch the ads. You watch every second of it.
Or you join the Patreon, or you use the affiliate links in the description.
Or you do both, because maybe you're a wonderful person. Well,
You're that devoted.
I don't know how people will feel about this, but YouTube thinks they'll like it more.
YouTube is testing having 2 back-to-back skippable ads. It depends. Sometimes I'm okay with this, and sometimes I'm not okay with this. Like if I'm looking for a piece of information that's buried in a video and somebody's explaining something to me, most of the time those search results are garbage. So if I'm watching a video that's not relevant, but it bombards me with 2 ads, that's much more annoying than, say, sitting down to watch, I don't know, Hackers the Movie, which is now available for free on YouTube. 2 back-to-back ads for that would be fine.
They do have a whole new collection of older movies that are available just for watching ads on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So,
you mean they didn't release those out of the kindness of their heart?
No. Some 80s and 90s classics, Krista, that you need to see.
We just lost half our viewers to go watch the Hackers movie.
Oh,
it's not even that great. It's okay. It was the first Hacker movie that wasn't just a stinker.
It's very memey. I've not seen it, but I see lots of memes of it online.
Well, my favorite one was the one where they Swordfish, where they had that beautiful UI for the hacking.
Yeah.
It's like, who spent so much time working on this UI? It's amazing. Well, let's talk loot boxes. So, before we read the headline, Krista and I were talking about this story beforehand. She's like, "The story's about Overwatch," and I was like, "No,
because it's an Overwatch loot box. It's not from the summer games."
Yeah, that's the reaction that I got.
So,
don't you question me on Overwatch? How dare you?
Actually,
but this is actually about other games.
So Square Enix has pulled 3 games from Belgium after the loot box ban.
Why don't you read the titles of the games because they're ridiculous?
Yeah, it's
they're all really long.
I'm going to read the entire titles. Mobius, Final Fantasy, Kingdom Hearts Union X, and Dissidia, Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. That's 5 names.
That's important. That doesn't even fit on the app screen. It's like, what?
So these are free-to-play games, and the only monetization is the loot box system. So the only other option would be make all the boxes free, which would just let everybody immediately win the game, I guess. You might be able to grind for them. But they've said, you know what? If you're not going to let us have the loot boxes, then you just don't get to play the games.
So,
sorry.
Banned in Belgium. You You can still get luge lessons in Belgium, but not those games apparently.
But you can't get luge boxes. Well, one of the common things that we always talk about on the news, and at this point, I include these stories just so we can think back and say, remember all those battery stories we did? Where the hell are those batteries?
Well, there's some more now.
Engadget is saying this Chinese startup may have cracked the solid-state batteries. So you read this, I'm pretty skeptical. The bottom line here is that they're saying they can do 400 watt-hours per kilogram, which is about 25% better than our best lithium-ion. But the proposed production volume for this factory is very low. It is perhaps suspiciously low in terms of production volume.
Well, the only thing lower is the amount of details about the technology that they're proposing to do. But they say that they're currently in production. So,
I believe him, for one.
It talks about the power density of lithium-ion type cells, and you can get, like 200 to 300 watts per kilogram is pretty normal. But if you really like cherry pick everything, and it's basically a manual assembly process, you can get 400 kilowatts of batteries that probably won't catch on fire with lithium-ion. So I don't know that this is that much of a leap over traditional lithium-ion batteries, but they're going to have to, 25% better is a lot better. They're going to have to supply more details.
But you might not have the limitation of materials.
Yeah, if it's like running on like carbon or something,
right,
that would be amazing.
So that would be good. No matter how efficient it is, that's good for the future, because
if it requires like strontium-90, we're screwed. That might be why they can't produce it, is because nobody is mining whatever is needed for those batteries.
Yeah, now they're desperately trying to buy land over whatever resource that is. That's why they don't want to tell us. Well, Thanksgiving, it was a day of giving thanks and remembering what we have, and thinking about the people who came before us that gave us these wonderful freedoms. I'm not talking about the rest of you, only Americans. But it's also a day, if you're a giant corporation, of admitting mistakes and hoping no one notices.
If you like the news, like you like learning about the news, you should always look at what news is released on Friday. And whatever news is released on Black Friday, there's always some juicy stuff in there, because nobody wants to be working on that Friday.
No, this was Thanksgiving.
It was like Thanksgiving Eve.
So
that was Thursday.
Well, no, Wednesday.
Well, Wednesday, yes. But
so the New York Times on Thanksgiving Eve, Facebook acknowledges the details of the Times investigation. So this is pretty, they said, this is the thing where they said there are a number of inaccuracies on our previous report, but this is the whole like George Soros thing, and just, it turns into a mess.
They weren't lying. There were a number of inaccuracies. That number was 0.
But there was a number.
So they scapegoated, I can't remember this guy's name, but we'll take a look at him. Oh, it keeps bringing that thing up. So this guy here, oh my God, Elliot Schrage, he's the one who fell on the sword for this. He was like, okay, this was my idea.
Sheryl Sandberg survived.
But Sandberg did admit that a couple of emails might have come across her desk detailing all of this. Where before she was like, I don't know anything about that. What?
Oh, is that what you meant by that? I didn't know that's what you meant by that.
How would I be expected to know that? I'm not highly educated.
I'm not in charge of a bunch of stuff at this company.
So this is, of course, the latest scandal in a year of Facebook scandals. We've just been talking about scandal after scandal for Facebook, starting with Cambridge Analytica and trickling on down. And it seems like, based on some, insider reporting, Mr. Zuckerberg is not a happy man, or even a happy robot.
I was going to say.
With Facebook at war, Zuckerberg adopts for a more aggressive style.
I like to imagine that the picture here, he's just got like a fedora on, and then he's got like ninja stars, like in a more aggressive personal style.
He's turning into lore.
So yeah, they talk about how in the past, this time of year, he starts doing these like really feel good, like next year I'm going to read 25 books, and I'm going to make the world
Oprah.
I'm going to make the world a better place, and we're going to improve the lives
Here's
of children.
Here's my favorite things. Warm fuzzy socks.
And now these days it's like, next year we're going to fix Facebook no matter what it takes. No matter who has to die. And there's a report, not from her, but some people are reporting who are close to Sandberg, saying that she doesn't even know if her job is safe. Because he's telling people, I blame you for problem X, And if you don't fix it, then we're going to have a problem.
Wow.
So
that's a great way to motivate people.
The whole time he's like looking at a picture of your family.
And he knows everything about them because he's got Facebook. You can't hide from him. Well, the biggest thing from the leak that the Wall Street Journal did was Mr. George Soros. And it was intimated that they were targeting him specifically to try and pull the heat off of themselves, which they have now admitted, and he's had a response.
Yeah, the New York Post article is not anything that you would not expect, but literally he's calling for Congress to step in and regulate and provide oversight of companies like Facebook, which, honestly, it's got to be a little tongue-in-cheek for Mr. Soros.
Who couldn't trust that face?
Look at him.
So, yeah, and I hate to agree with him, but they really, really took a low road there. That was a bad idea, Facebook.
It's like, hey, you guys think this is a great idea? Yes, this is a great idea.
Implement it.
Yeah. It was implemented with the dispassion that we've come to know and love from the leader Zuck. Almost sociopathic in difference.
Almost.
Smoked meats.
And leading into our next story, which is an exclusive poll, and this is perhaps one poll that I might actually participate in. Because I often say that polls are useless because what idiot answers a poll? But if they got far along before I hang up on them to tell me what it was about, I would answer these questions.
America sours on social media giants. So this poll talks about adults, Democrats, Independents, and Republicans. What are your thoughts on social media? And it's a bleak picture.
Republicans, definitely not fans. They started out not liking them, and now they really don't like them. But here's the big one. All adults have, pretty much increased, and they got the death cross here, the Facebook death cross, saying that they don't trust them, and they're not good for the world. Probably true. Although the scary thing is 40% think that social media in general is good.
It's nice to keep up with family, but
it's nice to give the elderly a way to see what you're up to without bothering you.
yes. That's what I mean, like with family. Like I can see when my cousin does something, I can like their photo, I can tell them good job, and then
That's such the opposite of togetherness. That's the darkest excuse. Well, actually,
having lived through Thanksgiving, this is the new plan going forward.
That might not be the darkest use of social media.
Tumblr was removed from Apple's App Store over child pornography issues. And Ryan, you said you were surprised by this, correct?
Well, okay, I am surprised by this, but here's the debate that we had. Krista seems to think that this is like fanfic child
I'm
porn.
not surprised by this at all, just having been on Tumblr before.
So you think this is like children being drawn or painted or rendered?
I would assume so, because Tumblr is like a big mecca for fan art and like fan communities, and especially like there's like the general fandom, say for like Lord of the Rings, and then there's like these weird little pockets of fandom where they draw things that are strange about Lord of the Rings, but
is that also illegal?
Drawn? I don't know. Drawn CP? Not sure.
I assume that this was just, traditional child pornography.
Some of it might be because they talk about how there were images. There is a database of known images, and Tumblr was not updating that database properly, which is one technical issue that they acknowledged.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing the way because we've talked about that before. I guess every time they bust like a dark web server or something, all those images go into a database and they hash them rather than search against them. So you don't have to look at child porn to search for child porn. And Tumblr was apparently using that, but it wasn't enough, or they weren't
updating
it correctly or whatever.
Yeah.
So
it must have been real photos then.
You can't argue.
At least some.
Ugh, that's sad.
You can't argue that, free speech ends when other people's rights begin, certainly in the case of child pornography. But it seems like they cut away plenty of healthy flesh to get rid of this tumor.
Their Crackdown has ensnared legit blogs in the Purge. And so PC Magazine has got an article here about like art blogs and a whole bunch of other stuff like that was also culled. But even with all that culling, Apple still hasn't reinstated Tumblr's iOS app to the App Store.
Yeah, we didn't even mention that. The app going away was the catalyst for all this. Not the fact that they knew there was child pornography. It wasn't until Apple was like, "Oh God, we're delisting you because of this."
Tumblr's literally deleting about 4 blogs a minute and just telling Apple to reload until they're happy.
That's why I wasn't surprised by it, because Tumblr, like, it can be a great place for fan art, and then it can also be a horrible dark cesspool, and you never know what you're going to get when you like search something on Tumblr.
Man, I've the only time I've ever seen Tumblr is when I've hot linked from an image or something that was on Tumblr. But it took me totally by surprise that there was child pornography on Tumblr. 4chan, okay, I expect that, but not Tumblr.
I'm a little bit surprised by Tumblr because people don't usually share photos. It's usually art, but who knows what weird things you could find on there.
The only thing I know about Tumblr is from the Oatmeal guy, and the Oatmeal guy used to have a Tumblr blog, but they couldn't keep it up, and that was when Tumblr first launched.
Tumblr used to be a really good platform, and then they added a ton of JavaScript, and it got real bloated real fast.
I hate that webcomic. I hate the art.
The Oatmeal?
Some of it's funny because it's so true to life.
I used to like the Oatmeal a lot more, and then he got weirdly bitter. And all of his stuff was just like, I hate everything, and it was like, oh, okay.
The weirdly bitter thing is what I identify with, sadly.
I get enough of that. I don't need it in my other web browsing habits, so...
Well,
or the Level 1 news, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Over the holiday, I bet there were a lot of unhappy thoughts.
No, I think Thanksgiving's a happy thought holiday.
Well, they thought it was going to be. They probably had like their fall-themed makeup and their, Native American outfit, slutty Native American outfit.
Not for a family gathering, I wouldn't think.
No,
maybe.
for their
Instagram
influencing.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, Recode has an article on influencers on Instagram. Instagram is cracking down on services that sell likes and followers.
Bot accounts, just like Twitter did a few months ago.
Yeah, this is apparently a huge problem, and they are getting a lot of accounts. A lot of people, follower numbers are suffering greatly during the crackdown.
I'm not surprised. I bet some of the agencies we work with will probably be panicked about this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, our brand has lost 17 million
we
followers.
don't know why. Yeah.
And did you pay a bunch of money for those followers? Because that might be why.
If you're not hip to the Instagram thought underworld, you might be saying to yourself, well, who cares, right? Who cares if you lose 10,000 followers? Well, it turns out there's big money.
Inside the Pricey war to influence your Instagram feed. Oh my gosh, these people are successful enough they can demand $50,000 or $75,000 to feature like makeup products and crap like that.
They call it, so it started on YouTube, where like people would do makeup tutorials on YouTube, and they call them being a beautuber. And then of course when Instagram launched, it moved over to Instagram, and now you have all these like really big makeup blog people, and you can pay to have your stuff featured on there, and it costs quite a bit of money if you want to get one of the big names.
Yeah, they talk about you can start at $5,000 to $10,000, but for a big name, you're talking about 50, 60.
Yeah.
Per product.
Yeah.
So these people are, if they're pimping 5, 6 products, they're living very comfortably doing nothing.
It's the equivalent of like what tech channels do. It's just for beauty products.
Some tech channels.
We don't do that, but we would love to do that, we don't.
We mostly just put computers together, and sometimes when other tech tubers are stuck, they come to us because we're legit.
And nobody's giving us $50,000.
No.
Have you been following? Speaking of, I didn't add a story, but have you been following? So Snapchat has what's called Premium Snap. Have you heard of that?
No.
Well,
I don't use Snapchat.
Yeah.
I'm too
Premium
old.
Snap is some kind of monetization. I don't know exactly how it works, but I think people pay you directly for specific images. Usually,
Well, that's going to lead to porn.
Basically, it already has. But here's the thing about it. It's income, right? And a lot of these thoughts don't understand taxes.
Just like people on Twitch.
So
I've had enough of that for one lifetime. I don't.
So like the butthurt, the 4chan guys are going around and reporting them to the IRS.
It's amazing.
And they're tweeting. It's like, oh my God, guys, I'm getting audited. Be careful out there.
You realize, like, the IRS will always find you.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people on Twitch who, like, brag about not doing taxes and not paying the IRS. And it's like, don't do
They will
that.
hunt you down.
These girls are just ignorant. But, I mean...
There's some are malicious, though.
Some won't even listen to reason.
It's kind of funny in one, because it's like, they thought that they had this wonderful lifestyle. They didn't realize that they have to do that. But it's two groups of horrible people attacking one another. It's like politics, Like the guys who are attacking them are just mad because they can't have them. And it's something to watch. Certainly.
It's entertaining from the outside, but also a little sad.
And it probably entertains us, especially because we're bitter, hateful Americans. And as the CBC reports,
there's a study to prove it.
We're unique.
Canadians are more polite on Twitter, and Americans are more negative. Study looked at 40 million tweets.
So yeah, basically, they looked at nationalities, and then they separated what words came out that didn't match up with the other nationalities. And of course, the Canadians were saying things like sorry and thank you and please.
I missed the part of this article where it talks about how Trump is one of the only celebrities that doesn't turn off the GPS features of his phone, which is probably driving the intelligence service crazy.
Oh, I was going to say, it's probably terrifying for his bodyguards and stuff.
That was pre-presidency.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was when he was just a celebrity. So now but here's the question. Did he do it because he didn't know any better, or because he was just like, yeah, go ahead and look where I am. It's amazing. I'm at the most amazing locations.
He was probably doing it on purpose.
The best locations. Everyone knows it.
So the American tweets, unlike the Canadians, our outlying words were stuff like hate and anger and a lot of cursing.
I would believe it. A lot of Americans are working longer hours for less pay and are generally unhappy.
Well, with the cursing, though, wouldn't that be kind of a false flag? Because I know some people who just swear.
Not Canadians.
Canadians never swear?
Well,
I don't believe that.
Only when they have to.
Then maybe it need a different dictionary for Canadian because, maybe like a moose on rollerblades is the equivalent of a swear in there. That's crazier than a moose on rollerblades.
Dialect.
Apparently, we go harder on the emojis.
I can see that.
So.
Well, Friday is going to be exciting.
Friday's a big nonsense day, and what did we leave out? Security.
Oh, my favorite section.
A lot of security news, some Linux news in the security news, and not really super exciting this week. This is definitely the post-Thanksgiving lethargy.
But we're gearing up for Christmas.
One of us is gearing up for Christmas.
The studio's going to be covered in fluff again.
One of us is gearing up for Christmas. The other two are drinking to forget.
You shouldn't mention that because now they're going to be like, Drunk Stream win. Drunk News win.
Win.
Soon.
All right. I'll see you on Friday.
Bye.